I love today's title. Stop waiting for the market to save you. Come on, you guys. It's time to take control of your pipeline, your urgency, generate your own opportunities. Let's not wait. We do not have to be controlled by a market. We do not have to be controlled by anything other than our behaviors. And so today, that's what we're going to be talking about. How do we take control and not let external things affect us? Welcome to Referral Roadmap. If you're ready to stop chasing clients and start attracting them through meaningful connections, you're in the right place. This is where we turn relationships into revenue, generosity into growth. Each week, we're going to explore strategies, stories, and my favorite, step-by-step actions that help you build a business fueled by referrals and relationships. Your next breakthrough starts right here. So let's go hit the road together. I'm excited about this. So let's go into some definition here, Jada. How, what does it really mean?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So, when the market slows down, the weak are going to wait. They're going to wait for the rates to drop, the economy to shift, leads to, magically just show up in their inbox or on their phone. But real business leaders don't wait to be rescued, they build their empire. So, this episode is really just to call you guys to take the wheel, to create that urgency, drive the new demand, prove that even in the hard times, you are not at the mercy of the market. You are the one who's going to move the needle in your business. So, that is what we're going to be talking about today, Athena. And I'm sure you have a story to go along with it before we introduce our wonderful guest.
I do. Oh my gosh, I do. First of all, I want to thank everybody for listening. We're so excited. Season 6. I mean, wow, season 6. We're still here. So excited. Hey, you guys, people need to hear this. There's a lot going on in the business world right now. Please subscribe, and share. That's the biggest thing. Share. This is free resources. You know, we have downloadable things. So if you love somebody, a business owner, please share this with them. But of course, I do have a story before we get into our guest today. So I got to tell you, you guys know one of my businesses is a partner in a home building business. And in the current market, it's crazy. We literally have friends in the home building world and throughout the United States that are throwing in their hat after decades and saying it's just too much. I have had conversations with local builders who are developer builders that are saying, you know what, I don't want to do it. I'm just going to sell the land. There's not enough profit and it's too complicated. And so, I got to tell you, we're in a very challenging market in that business. And so, Jade and I will tell you the last 12 months have been painful, very painful, because we built this engine. And what happened is, just to be totally transparent, we had some hiccups on our production side that hurt our reputation. So that sucked. And so then the market, right? But we can't sit back. It's not like myself and my partner are gonna say, "Oh, well, the market sucks, so it's okay if we have mediocrity. It's okay if we just lay people off. It's okay if we just say, well, we can do less." If you guys know me, that's not what we're doing,
I
right?
was going to say, I can attest to in our internal team meetings, they're saying quite the opposite.
Yeah. We expect us to grow our business this year, which we will do, but man, it's been painful. And we will beat last year's numbers this year. We're on track to do that. If my team continues to do with half the leads,
Hmm.
half the referrals. We could sit back and we could be sorry for ourselves, but that's not what we are doing. We are painfully looking at new opportunities, new ways to look at it. We even hired a company thinking, oh, they're going to help us. They did not. And so we learned the hard way. And we learned, okay, you can't even wait for a big international company to save you. You got to save yourself. So I just want to tell you, I know it's not easy. Okay. I am, yes, my team and I are going to have a successful year, but it has been hard. It continues to be hard. We are working harder than we ever have, smarter. Um, so I want you to know I'm not trying to, you know, glass over the complications. I'm not trying to glass over the amount of work it takes. But here, you're listening today because that's who you are. You're the person who says, you know what, I'm going to define my life. I'm going to define my business and I'm going to do what I have to do in life and business. And I'm not going to sit around and wait for others or the market, whatever, to create my destiny. And so I'm thankful that you're here and you're listening. And my friend Ronnie, and I will have some fun because he has the same type of attitude. And once he gives his bio, I'll kind of tell you guys a little bit of how I know him. So, Jada, who's here today?
Yes, well, I'm really excited to announce that we have Ronnie Gulikers on our podcast today. And so I'm just going to read his official bio because it's a good one. And so why not, you know?
Yeah, it's big too. I read it before the session and I was like, dang.
I
Anyway,
mean, it encapsulates exactly who he is
I
and part of
know.
why we're excited to have him on here. So I'm just going to
Exactly.
read it. And
Yeah,
it
do it.
says, Ronnie is a passionate leader and seasoned real estate professional known for building lifelong relationships through trust, strategy, and exceptional service. With a deep market knowledge and a sharp analytical edge, he's helped countless clients navigate the buying and selling process with confidence. Before diving into real estate, Ronnie spent years in pricing and marketing and analytics at Johnson Controls, where he developed pricing programs across multiple U.S. regions, a foundation that now fuels his success in the housing market, which we're talking about today of, you can't let that market control you. An Oklahoma City native and graduate of the University of Central Oklahoma, Ronnie holds a degree in business management. Outside of real estate, Ronnie dedicated 18 years to specialized soccer training and coaching at both the club and high school levels. Today, he channels that same energy and discipline into helping clients achieve their goals. And I have to, little thing here. I was a soccer player. It takes a lot of dedication and achievement. He's committed to ongoing education, regularly attending real estate courses and industry events to stay ahead of the curve. When he's not exceeding client expectations, Ronnie enjoys spending time with his family, watching sports, training at the gym, and investing in personal growth through business and life coaching. And of course, a good book, which is part of why we love him, Athena. We love books, right?
We do. I love it. So I just have to tell you guys before we get started on the questions. So Ronnie and I have had the privilege. Ronnie, we've known each other for over a year or more now.
Actually, it was this year, January.
All right.
I
So
have met you before.
we have met each other before, but
Yes.
my gosh, Ronnie, it feels like we have been together for like a year. You know?
It's like so much longer than that.
I
You're
know.
right. I'm like thinking back.
Oh my
But man,
gosh.
it does. It feels like way
Wow.
longer
Well,
in the best way.
Yes.
I know. I feel like he's been part of my life forever. The reason? So Ronnie attended one of my courses, goal setting, and then reached out to me, and so he is actually one of my coaching clients. I don't ever promote that, but I'm going to say that today. And the reason I asked him to be here is because of his dedication and his determination not to allow the market and not to allow even stressors in life, right? To
Right.
determine that, okay, my goal is not attainable because of X, Y, and Z. And so that's why I really wanted you to be here. I know it's hard for you to believe because you're in the middle of the fight that you are truly an example of somebody living this out. One, I wanted you to see how I saw you and wanted you to share because you're in the middle of the fight. You're in the middle of the fight right now, achieving some things that have been goals for you for a long time, and you're this close. And I know that you're going to do it with a lot of work. So thank you so much for being here, friend.
Thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here.
Awesome. All right. So we're going to get into questions. Okay. What was the moment you realized the market wasn't going to turn around and save you and that you actually had to take control of it yourself?
Yeah. So obviously, we keep up with the trends and everything that's
Mhm.
going on in the market and such. So it really put me in a position to dive in and say, okay, uh, what's working? What's not working? And where's the business coming from? And what I found was that uh, I wasn't doing as well in certain areas. It forces you to examine
Mhm.
what you're
Right.
doing and uh, how am I converting? How are the systems going internally? Where's the business coming from? And where do I want it to come from? How much am I missing?
Mhm.
It really when the market does this, it forces you to look more internally
That.
and that's when the growth begins. And it's not an easy thing to do because you're in a position to put yourself out there with, if you do invest in yourself through coaching or have a small group that you share things with. So it really forces that to happen because you want to stay ahead.
Mhm. Yeah. Now I know that that was one of the things that when you came no, it really honestly feels way longer than January, by the way. I feel like we've been together for a long time. Um, but that is something I really want people to hear something you said. What you did is you did analytics. So this is important that people hear this. You recognize what was going on in the market, but you went deeper. When you said this, it's important to go internal and look at what are your systems? What is working? What is not working? Where do you want the business? Where do you want the business to go? Right? So instead of you going on the roller coaster of whatever happening to the market, you did a deep dive into your analysis of your business. Right now, I will say because I know you so well, you treat your business like a business, and you have lots of spreadsheets and you do great tracking. So I think that that's important. I think that people need to know you need to treat it like a business. Ronnie treats his business like a business. And so he was
Yes.
able to do analytics to know what to do to not allow the market, right?
Right. And that is not very easy to do for any of us to track the numbers. How many calls does it take to get a lead? How many leads does it take to get the appointment? How many appointments to get the deal? I can tell you, for me, after all these years, even with my background, doing it consistently, I've never done it more consistently than I have coming into this year. And because of and what you said, if you're not tracking, you don't know.
Hmm. I know that it's funny you say that. So in the 10 steps that we teach, tracking is the boring one, right? I mean, it's so boring. People when I teach courses and stuff on tracking, people are like, but it's critical. It's so critical. So very important to know that. So what are some of the hard truths that you've had to face when you decided to, hey, I'm going to look into my pipeline. I'm going to look at my business. I'm going to look at my performance. I'm going to look at my consistency. What are some of the hard truths? And yes, I'm asking you to be vulnerable here. So I appreciate you being vulnerable.
Sure.
But what are some of the things that you know people are hearing and tell us about those?
Well, let's just start with the internal
Hmm.
element first. So our internal systems, I have a small team. I have a director of operations that does various things. We have a transaction coordinator that's virtual. So I do have a small team. I'm the only salesperson. And when you start, I just noticed that there were gaps in some of the systems, and it was creating some chaos that was stressing me out. Um, so in working with the team, we standard operating procedures for everything. Going through that, we don't have them all done. However, as we go, it's a constant improvement, and we're taking action on it now. It's not just talking about it. We're taking the action to improve each process as we do it, and that has helped clean a lot of things up. And externally, the communication with our clients. How are we communicating? What are we saying? What is the relationship level? That's key because most of my business comes through the relationships I've built through the database, whether I know them or not, and they get in there. What level is my relationship? So, a huge goal for us is to dive in and create a deeper relationship with people.
Hmm.
What are their likes, not what are our likes, and then take that to another level.
Hmm. Is that easy?
No, it's
Is staying, is nurturing a database um easy? Staying on top of it and being consistent with that. Is it easy? Hard? Both Jada and Ronnie.
it's hard.
Yeah, I'll say it's hard. The tracking side of things of like who needs to be nurtured, I feel like comes easier than the actually nurturing because then it's getting back into the notes, figuring out, okay, what did we talk about last time that is applicable to this next conversation? How do I make this feel very organic and not just, hey, I'm following up to see where you're at with XYZ, you know?
Yes. Did you
Yeah.
put the notes in? When,
Mhm.
like you said, I didn't have a database for the first 6 years in the business.
Yeah.
It's never too late to start.
I'm like,
So,
get a database. Sorry, I'm just like, get a
Athena will
database.
scream that from the rooftop in
Yeah.
every class she teaches too. So much so that we created a resource on how to find the right CRM.
Yes.
there you go. And it's it I don't always wanna take all of these great notes. I've gotten better at just shortening things and key elements. Just like Jada said, you're building on a relationship every time. You're creating, uh, sincerity, empathy, all of these things because we know what they're doing. We're becoming a part of their life. And another key element to building the relationship that will grow your business is helping them understand that you're not only here to buy, sell, and invest in real estate. You want to be, or this is what I want to be a one-stop resource for them. And I have
Mhm.
to explain it. That's a huge thing. I have to go all the way back. Oh, I have not been explaining what we do effectively enough. And that has been one of the biggest changes over the past 10 to 12 months for me is who are we? Who am I? What am I doing? How can I help you? How can I serve you best?
Mhm. I
I
think
love
oh,
that.
go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say I love that, and Athena, you talk about, having your strategic partners, a lot, and so that's not just, how do I if like Ronnie said, how do I help you buy, sell, and invest in real estate? It's how do I help you get a doctor for your kid, or how do I get you introduced to a coach on a soccer team? Like how having those strategic partners of if I'm talking to someone and they mention because people are always telling you what they need, you just have to listen for it. And so just figuring out how can I connect them with the resources that they need, even if it's not something that my team actually provides
Mhm.
as a product, of course.
Mhm.
And Ronnie and Jada, don't you guys think that makes it so much more fun?
Does it make it more fun? Yes, it does
Right?
because we meet the greatest people.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Usually the referral business, people that they're associated with. If you like them, the chances of them having likable friends, family, coworkers, all these things are very high percentage.
Hmm.
So,
And people can feel it. People feel when you just are looking at them as a transaction or a dollar figure versus when you actually care about them. That's really important. I remember one when I used to be Jada a long time ago and I had to nurture all of our pipeline. I remember this one client I spoke to you guys for 5 years. Okay? Talked to him every quarter for 5 years. I helped him get financial I helped him get with people who could help him fix his finances. I helped him do all of these things in order for him to his family of 9 were in a double wide, right? And so we were strategically working and I helped him do all these things. Now, what because I always talked to him and helped him do things and whatever, he sent me 5 referrals, maybe 6 even. It was 5 or 6 referrals who we actually built with just because, to Ronnie's point, I was just staying in I wasn't trying to sell it. I never knew if he really was gonna build. He ended up building, but I never knew that.
Hmm.
But I was just helping a fellow human being and never expected anything in return and just kept the relationship, and it was excessively fruitful, right?
yeah, and that's not easy to do because
Mm-mm.
it takes patience. Uh, we get caught up in here. We can't get caught up chasing the next deal, chasing the next deal. Uh, there's been probably a lot of elements from different channels that would say, limit your call time, limit this, limit that. If that's on your mind, you can't be authentic.
Mhm.
I had to learn and go through that because it became, okay, I'm on the phone with these people too long. I need to hurry up, move on to the next one because I know it takes 10 live conversations for me to get a lead. Well, if
Mm,
I'm on call number 4 and I'm 2 hours in, I'm like, "Okay, this is too long." Now there's ways to be better at it that I'm saying be authentic, be caring, just like Athena said. It's not don't be in a rush.
mhm,
Right. And you can still listen and stuff and shorten those calls, but you gotta have good listening skills
mhm.
in or
Yes.
right? Hey, so Ronnie, you've kind of touched on this already, but how did focusing on behaviors, not outcomes, change the way you approached your business day to day?
It actually takes some stress off. First of all, begin by investing in yourself, which means hiring a coach, someone that you can share things with, learn from, investing in the things that you're learning about, because what what I've found is that anybody operating at a high level is focused on the daily routine, the behavior, and not focused on the end goal.
Hmm.
You almost have to just take it depending on your personality and realize that the daily activities, the behaviors, that the goal comes, right? The develop those behaviors, what we've been talking about. I'm keeping in touch with somebody. I have a tracking system. So the leads that I wrote down on all those pieces of paper from every single person that called on a sign or however, how do we not let them slip away? And it
Mhm,
all boils down to the behavior. What are you doing in the morning? What are you doing? And squeezing it in.
Hmm. And it's not always easy. You know, it's interesting. Just this morning, when I was getting ready, I was listening to a reel of Life Church's pastor, Craig Rochelle. And so interesting, it was just a small reel, but it applies to what you're talking about. And Craig Rochelle said in this reel, there's nowhere in the Bible that God talks about your future or what what he talks about is your behaviors today. And Craig was like, it's what are you doing today to love on people? What are you doing today to, love him? What are you doing today? And he brought out all these scripture verses that were like, stop thinking about tomorrow. What are you doing today? Maybe you have an idea of what you want tomorrow to be, but what are you doing today to be that person, to do the behavior, etc. And, it goes along exactly what you're saying here, and it really hit me because yesterday, being vulnerable, I had a meeting with my team and, for my consulting business, and when I laid out all the things I have to do in the next year, I literally was like, "Okay, I'm gonna have a little panic attack." And then this morning, hearing that, I was like, "Okay, no, I don't. I just gotta do today," right? I just have to do the behaviors I know I need to do today. So I think that that's really important. I want our listeners to hear that. If you're always like, "But I gotta get the next deal. I've gotta get the next whatever," it's gonna create stress. You're gonna be overwhelmed. You're not gonna listen. You're not gonna be your best. So it really is defining those right behaviors. And Ronnie, I know you've done a really good job at really looking at and I know it hasn't been easy for you, so I'm really proud of you, of defining, like, what are the priorities? What are my behaviors? I mean, tell us about that. Tell us little bit about that journey for you.
It's a mindset
Mhm,
shift as well. And really digging into what is it that I want,
mhm,
and defining your path, helping to lay your path. So when I'm looking at, okay, what numbers do I want? What do I want to do with this? What's important to the family? That's where I kind of lean into, is that it's not all about me. There are things that I don't need, the family needs. So how do I get there?
mhm,
And what am I spending my time on? What's important? Then we start talking about aligning your day with mapping out your day, mapping out your time, being efficient, focused, clear. It the exercises is basically to going through the 4 boxes. where does this activity lie?
Mhm,
Where should my activity, what quadrant should my time be in, and what
mhm,
quadrant could somebody else's be in? And
mhm,
that's an ongoing exercise. I'm still not done because it changes too.
it
And it's
does.
hard to let go of things that may not be as important. So when we're
Mhm.
talking about the prioritization, 20%. What are the action items that only Ronnie can do
Yep,
to get there?
you got it. And, let that goes right into my next question for you. You have a lot going on outside of work. You have kiddos, you have a family, you've got a dynamic wife who has her own career. And so how do you, because a lot of people listening are juggling a lot, right? How do you stay focused and consistent when you're juggling life and it's demanding? And how does Ronnie do it?
Great question. I roll with it. I roll with it. I will say that when it's when you're juggling too much at one time, it's not real estate burning us out. I listen, I forget the lady's name, we're on a podcast where my burnout was occurring in the juggling
Mhm.
with life, family, kids, work, anything else, and it was being caught in between. What what helps is the boundary settings and having the conversations with your wife, your significant other. Hey, here's what's going on here, and being more schedule oriented. I wasn't always as schedule oriented, so yes, there are evenings I simply cannot do appointments for real estate. When I share that with people, it says I'm booked. However, I know on Monday evening and Thursday evening, I can't book anything because of mom working, kids sports. It is what it is.
Yeah.
I take the kids to school. So there's time in the mornings I'm not available. I pick the kids up from school. There's times in the afternoon. And then as Athena's helped me with and other people's working things in the gaps as you can. And if not, make sure that the primary activities aren't being skipped and set the boundaries and put them where they need to be.
Yep. And I know you just said that very eloquently. I also know you're still working on that and how hard that is. So, as people are listening, I want you to know what Ronnie is talking about is 100% truth. It is not easy. Jada and I will be the first people to tell you. I would say we're both experts at prioritization and we're experts at finding the gaps and we're experts at maximizing. It still is a constant battle. Am I right, Jada?
Yeah, and something you've, said in the past is, like, schedule the most important things for the first part of the day because, something could happen in the afternoon that throws off your whole day, and if you didn't get to the most important thing, maybe that's prospecting or maybe that's, you know, XYZ, you fill in the blank, if you didn't get to that, then, like and that was your number 1 priority for the day, it's not being prioritized as number 1.
Mhm. Right.
So
And
You're right. And
Right.
sorry about
No,
the
go ahead,
number
Ronnie.
one priority. It's mine is the when things got easier for me and it's beginning to be easier as I'm putting the family boundary first,
Mhm,
and that's helping me because I'm not feeling guilty about it. So I'm like,
totally.
okay, here's the family boundary, and then the other things have to wait.
Mhm,
The stress was when I was struggling with that. Oh my gosh, I need to set the business element here, the family element here, or cut into the family element. That's what's really helped me the most, I think, is that defining that priority first, that first boundary to set.
definitely. And I can even see too, from your perspective potentially, you probably felt like and I don't wanna put words in your mouth, but you probably felt like, whenever you said that, "I can't work on Mondays or Thursdays," people would be like, well, I can't work with Ronnie then because I might need to see a house on a Monday or a Thursday." Um, but I think from, like, an outsider's perspective, like, I would respect Ronnie a lot more knowing that he has those boundaries for and he values his family time. And so like as a consumer person, I would be like, oh, that's totally, I totally get that. But I think from the internal perspective and when you're setting those boundaries, I can speak from experience, you're just like, what if I tell people I can't call them after 6 p.m.? Like or between the hours of 5 to 7 p.m. My work phone is, usually on my desk. But that's the 2 hours that I get with my daughter in the evening. So those are the 2 hours that I'm just not
Yeah.
gonna check my work phone. And so just thinking about those things, I think you can run the rabbit wheel in your head of what are other people gonna think about it, but ultimately I think people end up respecting that more than
Mhm.
not. And if they don't respect that, then frankly, they're probably not people you wanna be working with.
Right, and the key is defining it up front.
Yep, exactly.
If
Yeah,
you
setting
don't
Now,
those
answer your
expectations.
phone past a certain time, the expectation is set. We have to set expectations for how people treat us, and the other element is leverage.
Mm,
mhm. Hey, Ronnie, I want to bring something up because I think this is really important. We're talking today about owning, like taking control of your business and not allowing the market or anything else to affect your success. Now, you just described to us that your family comes first and that is something that you've really focused on to make sure that you have that boundary because of all the cascading effect that has if you don't, right? And that you have had to learn to prioritize what Ronnie activities. Now, you've been doing that this year. Has it helped your business or hurt your business? Are you going to have a better year this year than last year?
Yes, I am. It has helped.
There,
Uh, yes,
right?
yes. I'm already at this point from a sheer unit perspective, I'm already, uh, 10 ahead of where I was in the entire last year as far as just units sold, and we still got a lot of time left. So, when the markets we talk about m I'm not gonna say down market, I'm gonna say a more difficult market, a different market. The highest level people that I've communicated with or anything that I've learned and watched, they say, "This is the opportunity time,
Amen.
the opportunity time." Uh, the investors love it when the market isn't just thriving because opportunity time, opportunity time. So it's the same thing for us. That's why we invested ourselves. We have to get better. It's an opportunity for gaining market share.
Mm,
When
it
people are
absolutely
having a
is.
tough time, like you've mentioned before, and the resources might not be for them, the drive, whatever that might be. And we've already had a huge dip, unfortunately, across the board in realtors getting out of the business. Well, that lays the pathway for the ones that are digging deep, not giving up,
Mhm,
and working harder,
mhm.
smarter. That's what I should say,
I would
smarter.
say right now we're working a little hard and smart.
That's
Yeah,
yeah,
I would say that. I think it's a lot of smart and a lot of hard, but
it is.
I wanted people to hear that because I think people think, okay, a down market, I've got to take control, then it means my personal life has to go away. And that is not the case here. Okay, that is not the situation. I will tell you just personally, I have the least amount of time to work than I have had in years because of my daughter Savannah and not having care for her. And I know Jada has had a baby, and so she has the least amount of time she's ever had in her professional life. Yet, because of the market, we are doing more than we ever have. And I'm not saying it's easy, but it is doable. It is absolutely doable. So, Ronnie, people listening right now and they're afraid outside life or the market um, is in control of their life and they can't fix it and they're down, depressed, whatever. They're stuck in emotional quicksand. What words of wisdom do you have for them?
Stay positive.
Mhm,
Look at the moment as an opportunity.
mhm,
There's it's never bad.
mhm.
Have that mindset. It's the mindset. And when you feel like you don't have the answers, find the answers. We have so many resources for free on because of technology that it's amazing. And
Mhm.
I'm happy to connect and share with anybody. So when we post my information here in a little while, you can reach out. Hey, how did you get through this? Or what has been the most, impactful with this element? The key is to master what you're doing, obviously. Honest the market forces you to be better. And when the market is easier, then everything it's just
Mhm.
it's the catalyst that makes it happen. When you're forced to be better and it's not easy, you're putting yourself in an uncomfortable situation to grow. I may have never got into the coaching if I didn't feel I needed to be better and do certain things. I know that I was in a career path that it's a make or break point. We're there. This is where we're going to sit, we're going to coast, or we're going to break through. And that can be at any level.
Mhm. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Ronnie, obviously stay on, we might have some more questions as I do the rubber meets the road, but I excellent interview. Thank you so much for all of that wisdom. I hope the people listening, I hope you really heard this because he just told you that a down market or hard circumstances is actually when you thrive. So that is awesome. I love that. Now, Jada, I know we've got to have some facts and figures because, well, we need science. We need to back it up so that we have some proof. So, is there some science to back this up?
Definitely. And I'm always a little bit nerdy, so I like the science, but
Me
I do
too.
have 3 pieces of science today. The first one is from Salesforce and their
Mhm.
studies, and they found that top sales performers actually spend 60% more time on proactive pipeline building activities than the average performers. So, really what that says is when others are waiting, the top producers are working on their future pipelines because they know that success lags the effort. So,
Yep.
goes back to what we were talking about earlier when we were discussing nurturing your pipeline and just being authentic, having those conversations with people and just staying ahead of the curve there. And the second piece of statistics I have today is from HubSpot, of course, because we always have HubSpot.
It's my CRM.
That is our CRM. We're not sponsored by them, but
No.
they can sponsor us if we wanted, I guess. But only 17% of sales professionals say that they follow a structured daily prospecting plan, yet those who do are 33% more likely to exceed their quota regardless of the market conditions. So that's such a small percentage of those that are following that structured schedule, but the ones that are 33% more likely to exceed their goals. So
Mhm.
I think really what that tells me is that discipline and prospecting, not your faith in the economy, is the most consistent driver of sales success. And then the last one is from the Harvard Business Review. They found that in down markets, companies and individuals who increase outreach see up to 3 times the lead volume than those who cut back. So, really, what that says to me is that activity creates opportunity even when the rest of the market is paused.
Amen. Man, I
Wow.
like those statistics. Those are Athena friendly statistics right
They
there.
are. They need to go in your courses.
I
They
mean,
need to
if you know me, those I just was like, "Yes, yes, yes, yes." Because and you guys, it's not because I wanna be right, it's because I've seen the power of it. That's the thing, you know? I can't afford to allow the market or my daughter's health to affect my ability to take our company where it needs to come. Right? I can't. There's people reliant on me not being complacent. And where do you find that? It's in our own behaviors, it's in the prospecting. So, anyway, I get really nerdy about that, but really it's because I want you to know, like Ronnie, you have the ability to there's very few things we can control in life, but we can control our behavior and our mindset.
I would say, and our mindset.
Yep. Those are 2 things that we get to control, and they're powerful, powerful. So let's talk about the rubber meets the road. So I've got, just 4 steps here, and again, I hope you guys are taking notes, writing this down, or at least saving it so you can come back. But number 1 thing, you have to check the market, stop looking at the market, stop listening to people who are naysayers or whatever. Stop listening to it. Okay, stop the negativity. I don't even watch the news anymore. Like people are like, but how do you know what's going on? Oh, people tell me. People tell me what I need to know.
Facebook.
Right? So I'm like, I'm good. But stop watching the market and start checking your pipeline. Stop scrolling all the how bad it is and start picking up and making phone calls, expanding your reach, building new relationships. Open up that CRM. Now, I will tell you, if you don't have a CRM, get a CRM. Please, okay? Because your life and your income should never be dependent on a market, okay?
Or
Number
notes
2.
left in a drawer from 3 months ago.
What?
I said, or notes left in a drawer from 3 months ago that you hope you remember where you put them.
Yeah, let's not do that. Oh my gosh. I don't even know. I mean, again, I can't go down, I'll tangent like a crazy person if we talk about a CRM because I'm like, how do you remember? I have an excellent Jada, do I have a pretty good memory?
Like an elephant. I think
Yeah.
that's a
I
memory
need
that
a
has like
CRM.
really like you have a
I
great
can't.
memory.
Well, it's because I'm dyslexic, and so when you're dyslexic, you have to memorize a bunch of stuff. So it's a benefit for a disability. So I'm thankful for there. But I just can't even. How do you remember? All right, number 2, pick one daily non-negotiable and stick with it. Okay, pick one behavior that you say, I am going to do this every single day. Now, I would love that to be conversations and connections. That's what I would love for you. Conversations and connections because they're going to make the biggest impact. But pick that one thing that says, I'm going to do this no matter what. This is what I have to do. And I know Ronnie has those things. And it's funny. I will tell you, I have a new prospecting plan for the home building business and for this business. I haven't had to have a note of my prospecting activities on my computer in a hot minute. But look, y'all, can you see this? Now, those of you who are watching YouTube, you can see it. If you can't, I'm just going to tell you, I got a piece of paper here that says prospecting and it has a list of 6 behaviors. So what I'm telling you is these are my non-negotiables. They have to happen every week. If I'm doing it, you need to do it. Just saying, this is an activity. I know Ronnie has those too.
And I wrote it down again. I wrote it down again.
Yep, right. Um, Number 3, write the name of 10 people who already trust you and reach out to them this week. Okay? Reach out to people and find out, these can be your referral partners, these could be strategic partners, and just find out what could that do for your business. Jada, you said it earlier, said action creates something. I forget what you said, but
I don't even remember. It must
what
have
was
been so
good?
good
It
it
was
hit my
good. But
brain.
um, you know, uh, here's the thing. You never know what could happen when you're having a conversation with somebody. Just have those conversations, okay? Reach out. Tell them what's going on. Build those relationships. So that's really important. And then number 4, shift from how's the market, boo, to how's my momentum. Ronnie talked a lot about that. He talked about looking at, who am I talking to? Who do I want to talk to? What behaviors are working? What are not? Think about what is my momentum? What can I control? What can my focus be? What should my effort be? What are the highest yield activities? Let your energy rise to match the storm, not let the storm destroy you and put you in quicksand, okay? And that you've got to believe it. And I understand you guys. I get it. I know I'm not trying to simplify this to make this sound so easy. I know it's a lot of work, but it's very worth it. You're worth it. Your business is worth it. And I really hope you take this seriously. Now I do want to make sure I know Jada is going to get you to have the ability to connect with Ronnie. If you want to have questions about him or if you have real estate needs in Oklahoma. But if there's anything Jada and I can ever do, please put it in the comments. If there's a resource you want us to make, if there's a podcast topic you want us to do, reach out. We're brave. We'll do it. But I promise you. All right,
Yeah.
Jada, where do we go from here?
Really just want to leave our listeners first off with just like one final message. Send that message, make that one call, whether that's to a past client, a referral partner, or someone just sitting in your CRM, or maybe on your notepad if you don't have a CRM yet, that's just collecting dust. Just don't overthink it. Don't script it to death. Don't even put it in a chat GPT. Just take the step, reach out authentically. Something that, Darren Hardy recently said in one of his Darren Dailies was, when was the last time you made a phone call just to check on someone? So I think that would be my challenge for you guys today is just call to check, just text someone to check on them. But aside from that, Ronnie, how do people get connected with you? Because you've shared a wealth of knowledge today, and whether someone has real estate needs or wants to be connected with someone else in Oklahoma, or whether they just want to ask you about your experience and how you've gotten through some hurdles in business, how do they do that?
Well, there's multiple ways. Sometimes it depends on what your favorite way is to communicate. Social media at Golikers Realty on almost all the platforms, Instagram, Facebook, X, all of those. And you could DM me through all of those if you want, or text me, call me, 405-203-6709. Uh, Golikers Realty team website through there. I just want to say too, it's been an honor to be here. What an amazing podcast you have, Jada and Athena. This is an amazing experience, and I love watching you and everything that you share. So invaluable information always.
Awesome.
Well,
Thank
thank you,
you.
Ronnie. That's really kind. And I'll make sure that your social media, your website, email, and phone number are all in the show notes for anyone that wants to reach out. That way they have all the methods of whatever their favorite platform is and how to communicate with you. So I'll make sure that they have that. Aside from that, in our show notes, we'll also share the downloadable resource guide for this season. So it's season 6 resource guide. It has resources from all 10 episodes. We're only on episode 3, but if you want to download it, you might get a sneak peek at what's to come in the next couple episodes. And then if you missed episode 1 and 2, just make sure go back, give them a listen. Don't forget to like and subscribe so that you can join us next week as Athena brings some real talk, real strategies with our special guest, Brett Boone. We'll see you next week.
Bye, everybody. Thank you so much for
Bye.
being here.
Thank you.